Well, this morning Jesus tells his disciples that the disciple is not superior to his teacher, but the fully trained disciple will always be like his teacher. And he gives us a lesson about how we're to go about being his disciples, that we work on removing the wooden beam from our own eye before we try to help our neighbor with the splinter in his or her eye. And when we're being trained by the Lord, all learning brings about a change in the person who learns. And the deeper the change, the more interior the learning is, and the more it touches upon and what makes us human, more on the level of our life and our being. If I learned a skill like to play football, that a change has come about in me. I have a skill now. But that change does not necessarily change the kind of person that I am. I can still remain the same old, ungenerous and selfish person. Don't all disagree at once. Now I can play football. Okay. But the deepest and most interior change involve who I am at my deepest level. And this is why our Lord, echoing the wisdom tradition found in the passage we just heard from Cihak, connects teaching with the interior life. We're supposed to change on the inside. We're supposed to learn and to be formed and to be like the Master. A good man draws what is good from the store of goodness in his heart, interior. And the teaching of Jesus comes from within the tradition of Israel. After all, he is the Word who was speaking all throughout the Old Testament. But his authority in teaching is ultimately founded upon who he is, true God and true man. Jesus teaches us not only about how to become more deeply human, but how to be saved and to share in the life of God. Fully trained, every disciple becomes like his master. Jesus is God the Son, the wisdom of the Father, the Word made flesh, who transforms the words of those who follow him so that they could become life-giving words, bearing fruit for the salvation of the world. And so he wants us to become like him in our thoughts, in our intentions, in the interiority of ourselves, also our words and our actions, to become a little Christ. That's the goal of being a Christian. And this is the truest wisdom, and this involves more than just intellectual learning. It means a way of life. It means a way of viewing reality and the world. It's also the way of the cross and the way of divine love. Human learning will pass away, but the teaching of Jesus remains for eternity, transforming those who receive it so that the student will become like the master. So we need to be taught by the Lord so that he can teach others through us in his saving mission. And how does he teach us? Well, he teaches us through sacred scripture and sacred tradition that comes down to us through the apostles and their successors. And this sheds a new light on things. Having a bishop, or in our case an archbishop, is not just some kind of nice window dressing that we have in our faith. Without a successor to the apostles, there is no church. There is no guaranteed link to Christ and his saving teaching. So without the apostles and their successors, we call that apostolic succession, we wouldn't know Jesus or have the correct understanding of him. In other words, we're a part of something much larger than our parish community. And in fact, our parish community exists because we have a successor to the apostles in our locality. Because the successor of St. Peter has sent a successor of the apostles to us here in Western Oregon, Archbishop Alexander Sample. We only exist as members of the church by our communion with him and his communion with all those who are in communion with the successor of St. Peter. We are Catholic and in communion with the universal church through our communion with our local successor of the apostles, our local shepherd. He's the point of communion that makes us Catholic. Otherwise, Christ the King would just be yet another community church that comes into existence and passes out of existence. You know, of course, our Archbishop is coming on Tuesday night, and I hope we all come to go hear what he has to say about how we're supposed to live our faith in Western Oregon in these coming years. So we're all part of this mission, the mission that he has been given to bring the saving gospel to Western Oregon and to deepen it, to bring every single person in Western Oregon into that saving, transformative relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's the mission of our parish. And there are many aspects of the Archbishop's mission, though, that are beyond the parish level, but which need our parish support. And that's what the Archbishop's Catholic Appeal every year is all about. It is about helping to support his mission that reaches beyond the parish level. And this weekend is the one time during the year that he asks the pastors to share and to preach about this appeal, because we're going to renew our goal for this coming year. You know, at last week's Finance Council meeting, Ann McCoy, who's our financial manager, she told us the parish had done really well with our ACA goal last year, that we were only $1,400 short of our goal. And I said that last night at the Mass. At the end of Mass, one of our parishioners walked up and said, "You just made your goal." You know. But if you look at what the Archbishop's Catholic Appeal goes for, if you look at those categories, there's a poster in the back that shows the breakdown. It goes to nearly all of it goes to 4 needed areas. One is priest support and retirement. The second is what they call pastoral ministries. Those are those things, again, that are beyond the parish scope, like catechesis in the diocese, pro-life activities, social justice work, outreach to prisons and those who are incarcerated, marriage enrichment, and serving people with disabilities. The third one is vocations and seminary education, and the fourth is campus ministry. That is our Catholic formation of our young people who are in the state universities of Western Oregon. And of course, as you know, almost all higher education in the state of Oregon happens in our archdiocese in Western Oregon. But I just want to highlight a couple things to make it a little bit more, I guess, more personal and more relevant to what we do here at the parish, to see how important it is. One that's very personal: your pastor's education and formation. Right? The money the investment that was put into me as a priest, I did a rough tally of that yesterday, $320,000. That money came from everywhere in the archdiocese for the Catholic Appeal, so that I could be educated and trained and then eventually sent by the Archbishop to serve you. I've used those doctoral studies in a formal way for the benefit of the church, teaching at Mount Angel and teaching at the Pontifical Gregorian University in Rome. And I've always geared any of my academic work to the formation of priests and seminarians. I would say most of what I do now with that extra education is I do continue to publish. In fact, I just had a book chapter published this last month. It's a lot harder to write when you're a parish of a pastor of a school with a hospital as well, but we get it done. It's just slower than usual. And then often it comes out in my teaching and preaching as well. The ACA also supports the ongoing formation of priests, and that's the second job that I have in the Archdiocese, besides being pastor here, is being the director of continuing education for priests. So we want our priests to continue to learn and to be formed, to get better at being a priest, whether that might entail from ongoing preaching work or administration help or all those sorts of things. And so the ACA helps to support the annual retreat for priests, the annual convocation, the running of workshops, and all of this to help our priests to continue to learn and grow. Because we know if our priests get better, then our parish life becomes more vibrant and vital. The other aspect of the ACA is campus ministry. You know that most Catholics leave the practice of their faith when they go to college, that university time. It's an absolutely crucial time that a young Catholic grows and is formed in the Catholic faith and not drifting away into the secular world that is happening so often. From what I can tell, I think our campus ministry programs in the Archdiocese are the best I've ever seen. In fact, there's the St. John Society and the Society of Mary that run the campus ministry at Oregon State University in Corvallis and at Portland State University downtown. And they are impressive. Like the retreats at Oregon State now regularly get 500 students at. I mean, they're having a massive impact. And they've put together this whole formation program for every year of college that there is, and then launching them into being a lifelong Catholic. Because if our young people can grow in their faith in the college level, the likelihood that they're going to be practicing Catholics for the rest of their lives is like almost 100%. And we've actually, for our parish school, we've been actively recruiting teachers out of that program because they are so well formed in their faith. The other operation is at the University of Oregon, and that's being run by the Dominican Fathers for decades now. But they've added a new aspect to the outreach there at University of Oregon. It's called Focus, the Fellowship of Catholic University Students. It's a national organization of young missionaries that go into college campuses and create small groups focused on Bible studies and begin to form intentional disciples at that level. So these missionaries are usually just recent college graduates. They sign up for a 2-year mission, and they go into these places, and they're having a huge impact all over the country. I was blessed to be on their board of directors for 6 years when I was at the Vatican, and it was at a time when demand for Focus really grew. In fact, the 6 years I was with them, the organization was growing at 23%, which anybody who does business here, that's like almost dangerous growth, right? You can't keep track in front of the train as it's going. But they have, and Curtis Martin, you might have seen him on EWTN or other places. He's the founder and CEO for a long time. So when I was on the board of directors, Focus was not on the west coast of the United States. They had a very difficult time getting into the universities there. And so part of my efforts while I was on the board was to try to increase the presence on the West Coast, and we did. We got them into California, Washington, and University of Oregon, which is then supported by the Archbishop's Catholic Appeal. And after about a year or two of them opening the team in Eugene, I was with Curtis Martin, and he said, Monsignor, just wanted to tell you that we're in about 200 universities in the country. The most difficult mission we have is University of Oregon. It's that secular. It's that indifferent, but they're having an impact. They're reaching people. In fact, there's a University of Oregon student who is here this week visiting home and came to daily mass, and just to see her, she's growing in her faith. She's becoming a better Catholic by going to University of Oregon because she's with a Focus team. So these are the kind of things that the Archbishop's Catholic Appeal does. And so in the pews, there's envelopes there. If you've given to the ACA in the past, I believe a renewal was sent to you at home. or you can actually just go online and do it on the Archdiocesan website. You know, I know our parish has a very generous spirit, and I'm confident we'll meet our goal for this coming year, so that the Archbishop's ministry is our way of being Catholic, right? Of supporting these extra parochial organizations that bring life and grace into the church in Western Oregon. So we're joined to Christ through apostolic succession. Again, having a bishop is not window dressing. It's essential to who we are and to the Christ's mission here in Western Oregon. We are supposed to become like the teacher. And if we give ourselves over to be instructed by him, as it comes down to us through the apostles and their successors, we will become like our teacher. I thank you in advance for being generous.